Once again, it's your favorite time of the week. Welcome to the Alphabets Football Talk Show. I am your host, Marcus, the Alphabets, where we take you on a 2-hour journey, take your mind off some of the real world stuff going on, and talk about our favorite sport in the world, football. First off, as usual, I'd like to introduce my beautiful co-host, Miss Ramona Diehard Die. Ramona, you there? Ramona.
Yup, I'm here. Sorry about that. My screen completely froze up.
Okay. And then I got a couple of guests in the house. Really need no introduction. I got some of my favorite people in the house with me. Really need no introduction. I got the professional one, Steve Stanfield, in the house, host of TLDT here with the Rise Up family, and also co-host of Fresh Perspective on Saturday mornings. Make sure y'all tune in to there. And we got another guy from the Fresh Perspective. I got Goldie Hawkins in the house. Goldie, you there?
Hey, man, I'm here definitely representing the 2000 Ravens. So, I'm ready to go. You talking about my Ravens, you talking defense, you talking life. So let's go.
Right. And last but not least, I got my Buck ambassador in the house. Buck Flair's in the house. What's going on, Buck? You there, baby?
Woo! You know I'm here, man. Talk about the 2002 Buccaneers defense.
All right. I got everybody in the house. We're gonna my co-host, she is a big time defensive fan. Like when you just say defense, her face lights up. You can see those big brown eyes through those glasses, and she goes something else. So we've been talking about doing something defense. So tonight we're gonna focus on defense. But before we get to that, as usual, we always start off with the news. And, right now we're going through a pandemic. It's not a hoax, okay? And there's some real world stuff going on. And it really bothered me, and I've been called, whether y'all can believe it or not, I've been called a Buffalo Bills hater. But in this case here, I'm going to defend a Buffalo Bill, okay? I was very disappointed when I saw this past week, before the opt-out a couple of days ago, all of the flack that Tre'Davious White took. His wife recently had a baby. They have a newborn baby. And he was considering opting out of this season for COVID. And I read some of the comments. I actually follow him. I think he's one of the top 2 or 3 corners in the game. Shout out to my boy Mookie Hawkins for the interview he did with him this week. Great work with that. But I had an issue with some of the fans that were giving him grief about possibly sitting out. Now, he did decide to opt in. But to me, it's a no-brainer. Look, I love football. I think we all here. This is a football show. This is pretty much a football show. It is a football show. And I love football. I played football. I've coached football. I follow football. I am a football enthusiast. But I will tell you what, if it comes between that and your family, these guys are husbands, they're fathers, they're sons. And to have fans on their social media pages and other media criticizing them and excoriating them for considering possibly sitting out the season, I just thought it was very unfortunate and very distasteful. Your thoughts on that, guys? Go ahead, Goldie.
Well, I have to say, I agree with everything that Tre'Davious said. I think sometimes we as fans, we get a little too involved with how we feel about things. And I know it's different now because people have been thirsty for sports, but it should never get to a point where if a person is making a decision to protect their family, that we should ever speak negatively about that person, because everybody that tunes into these sports or tune into our shows, we're making those same decisions for our family. So it's amazing how people could not, just look at. It's almost like shut up and play ball. And so we got to watch that as fans, enjoy it. But these are people too that we're watching. So I 100% agree with everything that he had to say.
No doubt. Ramona?
Oh, I absolutely agree with you what you said. First and foremost, these players choose to do this as their career. Just like a lawyer chooses to be a lawyer, a police officer chooses to be a police officer. This is their career. But they are also having families that they have to raise and protect and support. And your family comes first and foremost. I've always felt that way. What I fear, and I told them, I said, you know what, Tre'Davious, if this is the absolute case, and you opt out, and they decide to, not pay you, and you want to go to a new, Pittsburgh will take you.
I think there's 30. I think there's 31 other teams that would take to Tre'Davious White if he was on the free market. What do you think? What do you think, Buck?
I agree with all three of you. I think family first, and like I said, I've got two small boys, and if I was an NFL player right now, and it'd be tough for me to think about that too, because I think about all the ones that have small children. That's what that's one that concerns me the most. But they're professional athletes; they're paid to be professional. So if he opted out, I wouldn't have gave him no grief. I mean, I know you would probably not, because you got that bet, New England and Buffalo. So I just think it's the right decision, and I respect any football player that makes that decision. I respect any decision that they make during this time. So we're all dealing with it right now.
Right. D, what you got?
Man, I'm from Buffalo. I'm from that city. I have a mutual air of empathy on both sides. On one side, you're looking at an individual who was making a life decision, a grown man decision, and he should be entitled to that decision. On the other side, you have a group of fans who have been tormented for roughly the last 20 years. And they're looking at this year, a shortened season, no Tom Brady, as a prime opportunity to compete for a Super Bowl. And let's be clear, there is a serious level of doubt that they would be able to do that without Tre'Davious on the field. Let's be clear. So I understand and have a high level of empathy for both sides. But what I will say is this. And Irv, you can echo me on this. We have been very, very clear about our level of mutual accountability.
Yes.
This is not a situation where you're dealing with a Lou Williams situation. This is not a situation that you can make light, as clearly evident by the Karl Anthony Towns of the world who lost their mother, the Lou Williams situation where you got people sneaking out of the bubble and doing reckless things that could eventually put people's lives in danger. I being a person,
Florida Marlins.
Correct. I being a person who had a premature child who, to be perfectly honest with you, their immune system upon entry into this earth is compromised. On top of the fact that you're playing in one of the states that is still on mandatory quarantine, that is still in a place of panic because of the heavy population there and the blatant disregard. Well, not just the heavy population, but the fact that you're on the border, so you got people coming into the country that you just don't know what's going on. You really cannot predict or protect from anything. And so I'm pretty sure that his contemplation on opting out was not just his own. I'm pretty sure it came from the young child's mother as well. And despite the fact that I love Bills Mafia, even though I'm a Bears fan, which everybody knows, but I love Bills Mafia to death. I'm always going to rep the town. Y'all out of line here. Y'all out of line. Not for how you feel, but the blatant disregard in terms of your commentary and malicious disrespect of that man's right to make a choice. And I'm not surprised by it for a myriad of reasons. Number one being a number by the number of 45. But that's neither here nor there. The fact of the matter is these people are out of line. He has the right to make that decision. And as long as he doesn't come up hypocritical, I have no problem with him expressing his disdain and disgust for those individuals that were making that commentary.
Okay. Well, he did opt in, so it's a moot point at this point. But just the flack that he took, I just thought it was really unwarranted. But moving on, I just hate I just hate to see this, but it is the news, so we cover the news. That's what we do. As everybody knows, this was breaking news. This broke just before we went live on the air. Darius Geis, former running back from the Washington football team, he was cut by the team today for domestic violence charges that included strangulation. And when they found out what had went on, they dismissed him from team activities yesterday, and then today they actually cut him. And there was a statement. I'll read the statement real quick. On Thursday, we learned of a potential domestic violence related incident involving running back Darius Geis. We immediately alerted the National Football League and have continued to work with them during this process. We then met with Darius to inform him that he was excused from all team activity pending a review of this matter. This afternoon, we learned that there were multiple charges filed against Darius. Upon a review of the nature of these charges and following internal discussions, we have decided to release Darius immediately. So, look, here we go again. And it's sad. You never know what's going on in people's personal lives, but when it gets to that point where you're strangling somebody, and look, how fast time flies and how short people's memories are. Before the show, we were talking about, what people thought about this guy. This guy was a dynamic playmaker at LSU. I mean, a dynamic playmaker, and he came out the same draft as Saquon Barkley. And there were some conversations where people were debating whether Darius Geis should go in front of Saquon Barkley. There were some people that thought he was better than him, and Barkley ended up going number 2, I believe. He ended up going number 2 to the Giants, and Geis went a little bit later. But the guy's been injured. He hasn't really been able to put it together on the field. And then for this, now you're searching for a team. And then I'm sure that there's going to be some type of – they're going to make an example out of this guy. They're going to make – we just saw Antonio Brown got, 8 games? He just got 8 games. We saw what happened to a guy like Ray Rice. And for this guy to be in his second or third year to go through all of this, and it just seems like these guys aren't learning. They're going to make an example out of you. You probably won't play this year. And then with everything that's going on with this pandemic, D, I'm going to start off with you on this, as you went last time. What are your thoughts? I know you've always been very vocal about this. You've always been very clear with this, but I'll still give you the opportunity to give me your thoughts on this.
I'm gonna start off the same way I started off the last one. Mutual accountability. You have a responsibility as a professional to conduct yourself in a manner that is just that, professionalism. There is never a point in time, unless as a man your life is in danger by either a weapon or a vehicle, or you being like sleep and being attacked or something like that. There's never an instance where it is okay for a man to strike a woman to defend himself. And let's be clear, when we're talking about men defending themselves, if a woman is swinging on you, 9 times out of 10, she's not really capable of hurting you. So you restraining her to get away is totally different than you striking a woman. You strangling her is just as bad as you striking her. I am of the idea that individuals who deal with situations like this, especially repeat offenders, should incur the same level of scrutiny that corporate America puts on us as regular human beings. Oftentimes, these incidents get wiped up under the rug, and let's be clear, it happens on both sides. The false accusations, and it happens with women as well. Let's not forget about the Shamiqua Holdsclaw incident where she shot at her partner. So with Darius Geis, if all of this is true, and I don't think that you release a person that quickly with that talent level unless you have hardcore evidence that it's true. I am of the same mindset as Jim Harbaugh, that we have nothing else to talk about. You need to go and get your life together, and you are not entitled to have a place in professional sports because of your lack of ability to conduct yourself as a professional in the light as well as in the dark. Period.
No doubt. Ramona is the only female on the panel. I'm really interested on your take with this. I'm really interested to hear what you have to say as far as this.
Well, I'm gonna play devil's advocate just a little. I agree with what Devon said 100%. There is no reason anyone actually should ever touch a loved one, a girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, children. But I also know that there are women out there. We saw this with Kareem Hunt, who his wife was absolutely batshit crazy. Fact. And thank God he actually had some proof to that. He had text messages that he had saved. His attorney kept that hush hush for the longest, and he finally released those text messages from that woman. We had that discussion on Ladies' Night last year about the Kareem Hunt deal. But there are women who, quite frankly, act more big and tough than their husbands do, even if they are football players, because we all know that there has been cases of abuse from the wives of football players. And that was another subject that we dove into under Ladies' Night as well. So I absolutely agree that there is no reason a man that size should ever touch a woman. But I also know that there are some women out there who think, oh, I can get by with doing this or doing that to this man. And, oh, I'm a woman, he ain't going to hit me back. Well, My daddy always raised me to the belief that if no man should ever lay a hand on you, but if you step up and you think you can take a swing on a man like a man would hit another man, don't be shocked if he smacks you or backhands you back. So that's my devil's advocate. Now, as a woman, I think every woman should know how to defend themselves 100%. I don't care if it's, some kind of martial arts, self-defense class, whatever it is. Myself, I know a little bit of all of that. I've had self-defense classes. Had about 6 years of Ishinru Kung Fu. And I also carry a 45. So, I keep hearing these people say, whistle this, whistle that, carry the whistles. And don't get me wrong, that's a great device to have. It really is. I don't carry a whistle. I'm one of those that I truly believe I took self-defense with my pistol. And I think that everyone should do that. I don't care if you go to the range 1,500 times. If you don't take a self-defense type style class to know how to use that weapon, if you had to pull it, at that point, yeah, there's going to be some problems. So, yeah, I hate the thought of domestic violence. I hate seeing what this might do to this guy's career. But you got to use your noodle. That's for something other than just playing football, knowing football plays. So that's my opinion on it.
No, Goldie, what do you think?
Well, just to piggyback off of what Devon and Ramona was saying, just about the mutual accountability and some of the situations where it can come from both sides. I think about DJ Fluker, and luckily he was composed enough to get video of his situation. And I'm not saying Geis's situation is like this at all, but the young lady was just swinging on him and swinging on him. If he was less of a man, he would have ended up hitting her and throwing away everything. Like I said, I don't know the guy's situation, and I'm sorry that it happened. And with everything that just recently happened in Washington, they on zero tolerance. Somebody in the comments had mentioned if he wasn't injured so much that they may have held on to him. Not after the bombshell that just dropped not too long ago. If you sneeze wrong, you getting cut in Washington. They got to rebuild that franchise. They got to rebuild their image, because the things that came out about the stuff that how they was treating women, and they can't take another scar like that. So it's unfortunate. I was a Darius Geis fan. He was a beast coming out of LSU. One of my good friends, DeMarcus Burks, I call him the GOAT. He was big on Geis, and he was Geis over Saquon in the beginning. But it's unfortunate that his career has ended up this way. But if he put his hands on a woman, he must be disciplined. And I don't think it's 8 games. He going to sit down for a very long time, if not be able to get back in. If he actually strangled a woman and put his hands on her, I think he's done.
Okay. Buck.
I just saw the news probably about an hour before the show, and I was just like, first thing that got to my attention was another black eye for the NFL, another young man, career probably over. As I'm more allegations, that's a big. I don't know the whole story. I hate to talk about things, but I don't know the whole story. I was trying to pull up some of the stuff on the show, and I'm seeing there was like 3 incidents, and that's dating all the way back to I think it was saying February. February. Now you what is the Washington Redskins? How did they know much about this that went on back in February? March. They're saying there's 3 different allegations: February, March, and April. Now that I was reading just now. So, black eye for the NFL. Sorry about the young man. Hope he gets help. Always 2 sides to each story, but from what it looks like a bad situation for Darius. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I'm gonna read it. Go ahead.
you like to read some of the comments?
Okay. I went back up as far as I could. Melissa Bowden says, I think that as well. Do you think it's more upfront because of media, or do you think it's just different times, different standards? And fellow 45 girl, yes. I guess she's a 45 carrier as well. I think you got a kindred spirit up in here, Ramona. Eddie V. Hill, you don't ever put your hands on a woman, period. He made that with a lot of exclamation marks. Welcome to the show, Jade. And Dalton Smith said men should never lay their hands on women.
I think that goes for both sexes, though. I really do. I mean, because I do know I have friends who I know have been absolutely physically abused by their wives. And I've been the very first person who, granted, they were my female friends. And I'm like, look, you know what you're doing is wrong. And eventually you're going to either put one of the kids in jeopardy, and he is going to come out and stomp you like you need to be stomped, or you need to stop. You need to seek help, because when you put your child in jeopardy because of what you're doing to a husband or a wife, then that makes it even twice as bad. It's bad enough as it is, but when you're putting your children in jeopardy at this point, come on. I would like to read one more comment, and it's from Melissa Bowden. Her question for all of us: why do you think domestic violence, rape, and now mental health issues are so rampant in professional sports? I think, honest to God, that they have been there. I think they have always been there. I just think that now we are seeing more and more of it. I don't think it was ever not an issue. Trust me when I tell you, physical abuse has been going on for years and years and years. And back even in the carriage days, there were a lot of men who absolutely abused their wives. And we all know this. It's just that now, with the media and women actually stepping up for themselves and saying enough's enough, it's becoming more, media related. And these women aren't afraid of the backlash that they would get, like they used to get if they tried to. I mean, do you realize how many police officers? Do you know police officers are the highest average of people as far as a career who abuse their families? Did you know that? And it's a stress.
I think military is probably up there pretty high on there. As a veteran, I can tell you, I was in a lot of. I had to counsel a lot of soldiers that coming back from deployment and stuff like that. I don't want to make excuses. I would like to reiterate this. I will make this very known. We at the Rise Up family and with the OnPoint Network, we do not advocate any type of abuse. Okay, we're reporting the news and we don't advocate that. To answer Melissa's question, Ramona, I have to piggyback kind of off of what you said that we live in the age of social media, and anything that happens, it's gonna be brought up fast. 5 minutes later, you see this. You got Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and TikTok and all of this stuff. And whatever happens, it's going to be
no more TikTok. 45 days left of TikTok.
Okay. Well, it's just, it's anything that happens now, it's gonna come up pretty fast. But last thing, more bad news. New York Giants secondary, DeAndre Baker, he's been got 4 charges of armed robbery, and he's facing 10 years to life. I think we're looking at another guy who's probably not going to play football for a while, or or might not play ever again. But Buck, your thoughts on this?
Another story came out. I know it's been out. I know that story came out, and we are just waiting to see what was going to happen. And it's just like another black eye. I don't know if these players realize. I mean, the effects that it has on the other players in the league when this stuff happens. Right now, the owners do not take a lot of ownership. I think with these players, they're cutting them right off the bat. But are there programs in place for these young guys? I don't know. I mean, really, it's just a matter of fact. As you mentioned, Twitter, Facebook, the news is so fast, and boom, when these things hit, I mean, I don't think this guy will play in the NFL ever again. I mean, it's sad to say it, but I mean, what do? I just hate the fact. I want to get off the subject. Just one thing, Myles Garrett. I'm still upset over that contract. I'm still upset about that contract. I mean, how do you hit a player with a helmet and then you get rewarded with a big, rich contract like he did? What are you saying as an owner? What are you saying to the league? What are you saying to fans that saw that incident? What are you saying? Are they going to continue to condone violence in the NFL and let these players get away with certain things? So that's my take on it.
Wait a god dang minute. Are we really comparing armed robbery, 4 counts of armed robbery, to something that happened on the football field where a guy's testicles were grabbed before he lost his temper and hit you with the same helmet that you tried to rip off? I'm not condoning that what he did, but let's be clear. He didn't do anything that wasn't within the realm of that type of atmosphere.
There's actually no video showing him with his hands on his ball.
Actually, I can show you. I got the Zoom. I got the Zoom. No, that's BS. I got it with the Zoom. I got it with the Zoom.
Let's
one elbow on the thigh, 2 fingers on the testicles. Now,
Devon, all I'm saying is that I'm just saying
we're talking about DeAndre Baker. So let's leave it at DeAndre Baker.
And I'm just saying
to that. So
things play into those kind of routines. You keep rewarding players for violent things that happen on the field. Now we've got a player charged with 4 counts.
Football
Marcus just said earlier, I don't think this guy will be in the league. He's going to be out of the league a couple of years, and here I am saying,
just out of curiosity, just out of pure curiosity, Irv and Marcus and Ramona, since I know all of y'all are more ancient than I am. How long did Bill Romanowski play after he bludgeoned his teammate in practice to the point where they couldn't recognize him like his name, like he was
He played a full career, but I think that's the point that we're trying to make. We live now in times where things that used to go back on, you could used to clothesline people back on the field back in the day. They used to clothesline people. Lawrence Taylor going around and knocking people in the next week.
And then wiping his nose.
I don't think that you could now. Since you brought, okay, if we're gonna take it here, we're gonna take it. You know what? Alphabet Show. Y'all know us here at the Alphabet Show. If we gonna take it there, then let's take it there. Damn it, let's go. Now, what happens if you go up? And Ramona uses this example all the time. And me and you, we get in a car accident, and you hit me while I'm on my motorcycle, and I take my damn motorcycle helmet off, and I swing my motorcycle helmet at you. What happens to me? What are they gonna do to me?
They're going to arrest you.
Okay, well, it's the same. Look, just saying that it happened on the football field. If I'm a boxer, okay, now we saw a couple of boxing matches where at the end of the fight, the guy didn't like the decision and he knocks the hell out of the guy after the fight's over. Now we're not in a boxing match anymore. That's assault. Now we done fought for 12 rounds, but after that, if I punch you with my wrapped hand in your face.
Conor McGregor has punched 2 plain civilians in the face in 2 separate instances. Has he ever been arrested?
Who's that?
Conor McGregor.
Okay, yeah.
Jorge Masvidal punched a guy in the face, and they promoted it before the Usman fight. Did he get arrested? No. These are environments that are built and revolve around violence, and in a society that has a ton of pent up frustration, that they're looking for some sense of relief, and looking into the NFL. To your point, looking for the atmosphere that once was, where most people call that real football. An incident where a guy lost his temper that could have been bad, but really wasn't. That was, to be perfectly honest, instigated by the individual that got assaulted. You got what you deserve. That's like coming on my property and smacking me in the face and then expecting me not to shoot you with my shotgun. No, you violated me. Now, whatever happens as a result of that, you brought that on.
But hold on, D, real quick, D.
Hold on.
I don't just hold him accountable. I hold Mike Tomlin accountable, because you shouldn't have been passing the ball on the last play of the game when you down by 40.
But hold on, D. We losing sight of what we talking about, man. Look, stick up, kid. Look what you done did. Listen, this man is rolling dice, okay? He's doing whatever he's doing. He lost whatever he lost. Guess what? Mutual accountability. He was supposed to eat that.
That's why Mason Rudolph should have been held mutually accountable, which he was
right. He's not supposed to come back with a gun and rob the whole circle, okay? So whatever happens to this young man, I'm sorry. It happens. He was supposed to take that loss like a G and go on about his business. You should not sit down at a circle.
He wasn't supposed to be in the atmosphere, period.
And listen, D, every rookie, when they come into the league, they sit in what? The rookie symposium. And they tell them about pitfalls.
And nowadays, they align with mentors.
Okay, so, but you still found yourself in this position? You still got your feelings hurt, and now you want to come back? What movie was that when he was like, I'm going to the trunk of my car, I'm going to get my gun, and when I come back, I'm shooting everybody.
White man can't jump.
White man can't jump.
There it is. So you want to do your best white man can't jump rendition. You in the league, bro. One of the checks that you receive every week is more than what you lost at that game. But your feelings were so hurt that you want to do your best white man can't jump. I'm sorry. I don't feel sorry for this guy. I don't feel sorry for this guy.
It just goes.
Come on, man. You living your dreams.
It just goes to show you that you can take some individuals out of the environment, but you can't necessarily take them.
I got to get my environment on now. We talking gangster.
Oh,
right.
You can take some individuals out of the environment, but you can't take the environment out of some of the individuals.
And listen, man, it's like, come on. All right, I'll take back that I said I don't feel sorry for the guy, because I do. He worked very hard, but he made a big mistake.
I don't feel sorry for him at all, because you know what?
Right, so moving on, we're gonna we went a little bit over with the news.
I feel sorry for his family and his entourage that just lost the bag because of his stupid decisions.
Yeah, now it's time to talk turkey. Let's go.
It's unfortunate, but once again, tonight we wanted to focus exclusively on defense. Like I said earlier in the show, my co-host, she is a big defensive fan. She talks. We off the air, we said that we talk defense, and I just thought it would be appropriate to finally have a defensive show. So I called up these guys here, and we're gonna look. This is one of those arguments that could go on and on, but I have representatives of some of the greatest defenses that have ever played in the NFL. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna sit up here, and I'm gonna give each of these guys an opportunity. I'm gonna give the 85 Bears, the 2000 Ravens, the 2002 Bucks, and the 76 Steelers an opportunity to state their case of why their defense is the best defense of all time. Also, in the comment section, I want whoever your favorite team is, whoever the team is that you're representing in the comment section, what I need you to do is go into the comment section and tell me and argue your case why the defense of your favorite team, whoever that is, I need the best. I need the year and the team of of the best defense that you've had on your team, and put that in the comment section. So I'm gonna go with ladies first.
No, I'm going last.
You going last? Okay.
You don't get to go last.
Okay. All right.
I'm last.
How you get to go
ladies,
last?
ladies prerogative. Ladies prerogative. So you know what? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with you, Buck. 2002 Ravens. I need. I need.
Bucks.
2002
I need
bucks.
a reason, and I need you to state your case, Matlock style.
Madlock stuff.
Perry Mason. I'm taking it way back. D like to call me old all the time. We're gonna go back to Perry Mason. Why the 2002 Bucks are the best defense of all time?
I gotta lead into it. You know what? I gotta lead into all my props and all my love, and just gotta lead into it. You know, just gotta lean into it just a little bit. Make sure the Falcons fans and all the Panther fans get to see that. I know Ron Thomas is watching too. Of course, bring down the big sign. Still got the day that it happened. Got the frame. Got the newspaper frame. So, talking Bucks football 2002. Great defensive team. Great defensive team. I lead off first with the biggest question to all my opponents. What team had a defensive scheme named after them? Tampa 2 has dominated the NFL over the last 18 years. Everybody talks about the Tampa 2 defense. Everybody talks about Warren Sapp, Simeon Rice, Derek Brooks, John Lynch, and of course, Rondé Barber right here. You're talking about 5 Pro Bowlers on a team, possibly 4 future Hall of Famers on that defense. Monty Kiffin, a legend in his own. Passing defense, 4.5 yards a catch, all they allowed. Arguably, probably the best pass defense of all time. And I'm talking to you Seahawks,
Wrong.
2013 Legion of Boom people. Arguably the best passing defense of all time. 31 interceptions that season. They led the league with touchdown passes because no quarterback threw more than 28, 29 touchdowns that season. They had 31 interceptions. They also had 43 sacks. They also had 20-something fumbles. And during their run in the playoffs, they had They had 5 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, just complete domination in the playoffs when they did that run all the way there. They won the division. That's one thing. They won the Super Bowl. That's another thing. So I can throw out stats. You know, we can talk about that great, Ravens team in 2000. He's here to talk about his team. You can talk about who they play. That's what I'm talking about. Tampa Bay that season played half of their games against the top 10 offenses in the league that season. That's who they played. Okay? They played 10 out of the 19 games against the top 10 offenses in the NFL that season. They also played the number 1 offense in the Super Bowl, same as the Seahawks did too that season in 2013. And the only difference is that the defense scored 3 touchdowns in that Super Bowl, and they basically outscored the Raiders offense. They could have beat them by themselves. And they had Brad Johnson. Everybody talks about this. Quarterbacks that win a Super Bowl. Brad Johnson led Tampa Bay to the Super Bowl. It was the Bucs defense. We all know it was the Bucs defense that led them to the Super Bowl. So I'm gonna listen to these other guys' arguments. I'm gonna listen to these other guys' arguments because I could say some things right now. The only one that I'm gonna have a hard time is the guy from the I hate to say it. I ain't even gonna say it. So I ain't gonna, but I'm disappointed there's no Cowboys on this list, so Marcus could speak. So anyway,
got the Cowboys. Don't worry. I got that. Don't worry about it. I got the Cowboys.
So anyway, yeah, I mean, really, I think we gave up 170 yards a game in passing defense. That's one thing people don't realize. You know, Brian Kelly. Every Buck. I think there was so many Buck players that had picks that season. I think there was over 10 players had picks that season for the Bucks defense. They gave up 12 points a game. But the one thing I always look about, who'd you play? The Bucks defense, 2002. I'm going to get back to this right here. What offense was known as the greatest show on turf? The Rams. The Rams won the Super Bowl in 2000, beating the Bucks in that 99 defense 11-6. Do you know the next 3 seasons, Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense beat the Rams every year? 1, 2, 3. So you talk about great offenses, talk about great defenses. You talk about the Bucks beating the Rams, who I consider probably one of at least the top 10 offenses ever in the NFL. So there's another good point I'm going to make too as well. So show me this, Ray Lewis. Show me this, Ed Reed, and show me this offense that the Ravens had and who they play. And they didn't even win the division that year. That's what I want to hear from this Ravens guy. Show it to me. Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Get him, Irv. Get him, Irv.
I love it, man. I love it. Hey, I'm gonna come in like this right here, man.
Where's your purple at?
Shout out to everybody.
Where's your purple at? Where's your purple at?
Thank you for everybody tuning in. Look, I'm gonna pop my collar real quick. Hey, Alpha, I got a quick question for you.
Okay.
What is Hall of Famer Emmitt Smith, Hall of Famer Eddie George have in common with Curtis Martin, Thomas Jones, Corey Dillon, Fred Taylor, Stephen Davis, Jerome Bettis, Tiki Barber, and Mike Anderson? What do those 2 Hall of Famers have in common with all of those guys?
I have no earthly idea.
They couldn't run 100 yards against the 2000 Ravens defense. Okay? And look, Buck, I appreciate you, brother. Buck Fair, love your energy. You talking about Brad Johnson? What about Trent Dilfer? Okay, we started off the season 5-1. 3 of those victories were shutouts. Okay, it was shutouts against the Steelers. Sorry, Ramona. The Bengals and the Browns. Okay, let's talk. You said you had one of the greatest pass defenses, and you had an awesome pass defense with Barber, Lynch. Y'all was nice, man. But check out this run defense. We only gave up 5 rushing touchdowns the whole year. $5. $5. I ain't even gonna talk about the foot long, but 2.7 yards per game. That's it. Okay, we only gave up 60 yards per game. Those are records that still stand. Okay, we did this in 2000. Records still stand. We only gave up 165 points. So yeah, we was only ranked 7th in pass defense, but we focused on stopping the run. And, you know, back then the running back was a little bit more prominent at the time. So you couldn't run on us, okay? And so, yeah, we didn't win the division or whatever. Who cares, okay? When it came down to it, you couldn't score on us. We went 5 games without scoring a touchdown and still was winning games. Come on, man. This is an amazing defense. We went games without scoring touchdowns and still won. We only gave up 970 yards rushing the whole season. In our playoff run, we gave up 1 offensive touchdown in the playoffs, and that was a 2-yard run to Eddie George. Shout out to Eddie George, Hall of Famer. After that, we gave up no touchdowns. No offensive touchdowns in the playoffs. In the Super Bowl, we didn't give up an offensive touchdown. The only touchdown that was scored in the Super Bowl was when they ran the kickoff back. So we gave up a special teams touchdown. No offensive touchdowns. So how can you look at a team that has records still standing this day from 2000 and say that they're not the best? How can you take Trent Dilfer, okay, to the Super Bowl and not be the greatest defense of all time? How I remember I was working at the ESPN zone the night of the Super Bowl. When we finally scored, when Jason Sehorn got scorched, we knew it was over. We had 7 points. We knew the Super Bowl was over. That's how serious the defense was. All we had to do was get a lead, and you can cancel Christmas. 10 points, you're done. Greatest defense. And look, I love the 85 Bears defense. I grew up a Mike Singletary fan, Pepper John, all them cats, man. But
then you need to stop being so disrespectful talking
when
about
when you talk about Ray Lewis, and hold on, and Singletary got an opportunity to coach Ray Lewis, so he know what time it is.
You do realize though, in 2000 you played 10 bottom ranked offenses in the season.
Preach, Ramona. Preach.
When you're in the playoffs,
offenses.
When you're in the playoffs, you're playing the top team.
You really about to say this?
And they still
you really about to say this? You really about to say this right after you let Marcus go on that rant about how easy it was to walk through the entire AFC East and then get to the Super Bowl easily. You gonna go there? Okay, all right. Don't worry. Your time's coming. As soon as Dallas is done decimating you, I'll be next. So
can I cook? Can I cook?
Go ahead, but saute it because I'm about to go hard on the grill.
There was nothing easy about the AFC Central. Okay, one of the toughest football divisions. Now the AFC North continues that tradition. So I don't want to hear nothing about easy football because that wasn't what was happening.
Did you win the division? Did you win the division?
This is we had an inept offense.
This is about the greatest defense of all time. You have to win your division. You have to play all year long.
Took a team to the Super Bowl that didn't score touchdowns for multiple games.
Guess what?
Multiple games.
Guess what?
2.7.
Guess what? 2002. You went ahead and named off all these teams you played. 2002 Bucks against the Baltimore Ravens. What was the score? 25-0. Shutout. Boom. Boom. 2 years ago, you won the Super Bowl.
Okay, we had lost some players by 2002. What y'all doing?
In Baltimore. In Baltimore. Bucks beat Ravens in Baltimore.
We're not talking about the 2002 Ravens.
We're talking about the 2002 Bucks. That's what I'm talking about. The 2002 Bucks. We're talking about the
2000 Ravens, and we smashed everybody who came in our way. 12-4, Lombardi Trophy, Ray Lewis, defensive MVP, Marvin Lewis, defensive coach of the year, Jamal Lewis. He's offense, but come on, man. I'm gonna let D go because I want to hear what he has to say about
Dallas is next.
One last thing, but before we move on to the next team, no, I'm going last. I'm gonna go last. Next. That's my show. I'm going last. But I'll say this. But I will say this.
Wait.
And I have a question for the. In the comment section. I will give one custom-made, handmade mask with your favorite team logo on it. If you can tell me another team that had a starting quarterback, a starting Super Bowl quarterback, in the offseason they trade him. Trent Dilfer. You tell me another the quarterback before him, starting Super Bowl quarterback, that in the next starting Super Bowl winning quarterback that in the offseason, that offseason after the Super Bowl was traded. If anybody can tell me that in the comment section and we research it, I will send you a custom made a mask with your favorite team logo patch on it to your house. We had our first winner last week, William Richter. He won off of another question, but if you can do that, I will send you a mask for that. So next, I'm going to let the Bears go next. D. Stanfield, a professional. 85 Bears, ready, set, go.
So the 85 Bears.
Thank you.
Sorry, my bad.
This is relatively easy. It's actually too easy. So I'm gonna take my time with it. You talked about your Tampa 2 defense, Mr. Book. Who created that Tampa 2 defense? Because the Tampa 2 defense is a derivative of the 4-6, is it not? The only difference is the middle linebacker has extra responsibilities to drop further back down the field, is it not? Mr. Buck Flair?
I'm listening. You got to make an argument. You got to make an
I don't
argument.
have. I'm not. Listen. I just need you to answer. I just need you to answer the question.
The last 18 years.
If you don't know, just say you don't know. This is what we call. This is what we call. This is what we call panel engagement.
It's been gone for a long time.
No, it's not. It's now called the Tampa 2.
Philadelphia, trying to run the same thing.
See how you have. See what happens. You see what happens. See, Irv. Here's your problem. You tried to address Buck Flair with an opinion, but this is a fact, and he doesn't want to address it. Now, since he doesn't want to address it, I'm not going to waste my time continuing to talk to him. You're on pause, Mister Irving Hawkins, or Goldie, as you like to call it. How many shutouts did you have in the playoffs that year?
How many shutouts did we have in the playoffs?
Yeah, games that people didn't score at all.
we didn't have any shutouts.
Well, I'm gonna go Jeopardy on you. Can anybody name the only team in NFL history to go through the playoffs to the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl, and have 2 shutouts on the way? Please answer it in question form.
Can you turn your camera on? People are asking.
Well, I would be happy to turn my camera on. I didn't think it was necessary for people to actually see my face while I was giving this onslaught of information.
Oh yeah, they want to see your face.
No, it's okay. They just want to see the facial expressions. Hi, how are you? The answer to that question, if you didn't know, Mr. Goldie Hawkins, the light-skinned lynch mob, is the Chicago Bears of 1985. And just for what we like to call shits and giggles around here, neither one of your quarterbacks were worse than Jim McMahon. The best thing about Jim McMahon was his headband. Maybe his dancing. Maybe. You can disagree all you want, but I can you name another Mormon quarterback that made it to the NFL?
I'm not gonna go there.
I didn't think you would. Anyway,
Steve Young.
Now on to people that are actually relevant in this conversation. The only team that actually there are 2 teams, but the other one is not even in contention here, so I'm not even going to address them. The only teams that are actually worth debating with are the 76 Pittsburgh Steelers, which is why I didn't want Ramona going after me.
You bumped it.
And I know Goldie doesn't like that, but let's be clear. Goldie's team ain't even his team. They belong in Cleveland. So
Cleveland has a team. They got to keep their colors, their history, and everything.
Anyway, what I want to say about the Dallas Cowboys in this situation is when your team has an extra prolific offense, it takes part in wearing down the defense. So we don't get to see how good your defense is because everybody's not relying on you like they were with the Pittsburgh Steelers and my Chicago Bears.
And my 2000 Ravens.
No, sir. You had, listen, you know what? I'm not going to do this.
Was that Jamal?
Jamal Lewis. Yeah.
Did he have 2,000 yards? That wasn't his 2,000.
No, that wasn't his 2,000
No. But just out of curiosity, who was the wide receiving core on that team? Irving Goldie Hawkins. And include the tight end, please.
Kadri Ishmael.
Mm-hmm.
Shannon Sharp.
Mm-hmm. What was that name again?
Yeah, Shannon Sharp.
Oh, Hall of Fame, Shannon Sharp, right?
Hall of Fame. He made that career in Denver. Yes.
Okay, keep going.
And
the other Lewis.
Jamal, right?
Not Jamal Lewis. Jermaine.
No, Jamal was the running back.
I'm just saying
Jermaine was
Lewis.
like kickoff returner.
And then you had Jamal Lewis, right? And just out of curiosity,
Jamal Lewis was a rookie.
Okay, but you did have Jonathan Ogden too, didn't you?
We did, absolutely.
And you did average on passing plays. You did average 3.4 yards. I mean, 3.4 seconds a pass. Did you not?
Go ahead.
And you did have a quarterback who already had playoff and Super Bowl experience. Did you not?
We actually had to go to him.
Now,
we started off with Tony Banks. Yeah, stop it.
I have to intervene here real quick.
No. Hold on. You don't get to intervene because nobody got to intervene. You got to throw out comments, but you don't get to intervene.
Okay, go ahead.
The unmitigated gall of you, sir. There needs to be some mutual accountability here, people. Jesus. Now we're talking about royalty here. Shoot. All right.
You ain't talking about royalty when you're talking about Trent Dilfer. Go ahead.
No. The only royalty in the room, like I said, is Ramona and these 85 Bears. And these 85 Bears. Because isn't your team the only one on this panel that doesn't have a nickname?
Dude.
Tampa 2.
Purple Rain.
Oh my God. Did you really just steal Prince's name, claim to fame? Okay. Just hush it up. Hush it up. Just hush it up now. Now, as we get to this masterful 4-6 defense that was evolved by Tony Dungy's thievery from Lovie Smith, by the way, who went on to become the Chicago Bears head coach, to turn it into the Tampa 2, which I'm giving y'all facts, people, facts. Our defense was the only defense in in playoff history to have 2 shutouts on the way to the Super Bowl. We had the largest points differential ever in playoff history. We won the game 42-10 in the Super Bowl, in which a touchdown was scored at the very last gasp. So, in all honesty, we dominated in a league that at that time, offensively, was quite frankly in a very, very good place. You're talking about Joe Montana being in the league. You're talking about Dan Marino being in the league. At that time, Jim Kelly was in the league. Matter of fact, it was 2 years after that great quarterback class of 1983. And yet and still, and really for 3 straight years, our defense dominated. The only reason we did not turn into a dynasty, in my opinion, is because of Mike Ditka. He totally lost that locker room and destroyed that team internally. But the question I was going to what I was going to tell you, Irv Goldie Hawkins, there is not a person in our receiving core that saw the Hall of Fame.
Neither did ours, except for
Shannon Sharp, bro.
He didn't build his Hall of Fame career in Baltimore. He built it in Denver.
It doesn't matter. That year that he had in Baltimore was a career year.
Yeah, it was a pretty damn good year.
All right, then.
Marcus.
Yes.
I got a question for Marcus.
Yes.
How good were the Tampa Bay Bucks in 1985? How good were the Buccaneers in 1985?
Was that the same year y'all's coach said, what do you think about the execution of your
No. He's saying that because the Bucks played us in the very first game of the season. And they were up 28-17.
See, Devon is jumping in now.
No, because you're not going to just circumvent my argument. First of all, they were
pretty bad. Bad football.
Hey, Marcus, this is what happened. This will lose to my Ramona. Please silence this guy.
Points.
You are the host, and I am being interrupted. I'm reclaiming my time. I am reclaiming my time. My name is Maxine Waters, the man version, and I am reclaiming my time, sir.
Let him finish his spiel on his Bears.
Thank you.
I yield the floor.
You yield the floor to the king. Don't forget to address me as such. Now,
like I'm watching Hamilton.
Now, I'm glad that you went there, though, Buck Flair, because this is what I was getting to about the whole Mike Ditka thing. Before Mike Ditka allowed Buddy Ryan to run the defense and not speak to him for the rest of the season, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were up 28-17. They went into halftime. There was an argument between the coaches and then lashing at the players. And the Bucks didn't score another touchdown. Matter of fact, I don't even think they got more than 14 yards for the rest of the game.
You just shot yourself in the foot. This is about the greatest defense of all time. You just said 28-17 they was up. 28-17.
If I am a defensive coordinator and I'm telling my team and I'm telling my defense, hey man, y'all don't do shit till this coach get out of his mother effing head and let me do what the hell I want to do, and then we're gonna turn it up. And then in the second half, y'all don't move the ball. I think that we've made our point.
Hey, D, how many points did y'all give up?
And just to be clear, that is a general tendency in Chicago, Irv Goldie Hawkins, because I can remember Michael Jordan in The Last Dance saying, "Hey, we can't win the series in game 4 and 5 because I want to win on Father's Day." And game 6 happened, and
D, how many points did y'all give up that year? How many points did that great defense give up?
198 points for the entire
165.
season. 165.
Right,
sorry.
No, that's us. 165.
Oh,
that's us.
Yeah, 198 points for that entire season.
All right, 2000 Ravens, 165.
Y'all didn't play nobody.
Didn't you just admit to the fact that you played against 10 teams with a losing record?
We played against Emmitt Smith, Eddie George, Jerome Bettis. We played against some great teams.
Was that Emmitt Smith? Was that Emmitt Smith in an Arizona Cardinals uniform?
No, that was Emmitt Smith. That was Emmitt Smith before he got traded to the Arizona. I think that's the year before he went to the Cardinals.
Okay, all right.
The year before. All right. By that time, Emmitt, in defense of my Cowboys, this is not. By then, there was no Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman retired in 2000. There was no Michael Irvin. There was no Michael Irvin, and there was no Troy Aikman.
Yeah, y'all caught a donut.
Just saying. That wasn't those 90s triplet Cowboys. Just putting that out there.
I will say this, Marcus. The Bears did beat the Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day. That
44-0.
44-0, and they beat the living crap out of the Cowboys. And I had a great Thanksgiving that year.
Is this everybody's Thanksgiving wish is to beat the Cowboys on Thanksgiving? Before this, I heard from all the Bills fans that beat the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Is that like the thing?
I just want to read a quote. The Bears' opponents scored 3.3 points per game in the postseason, 2.4 points better per game than their closest rival, the 2000 Baltimore Ravens.
Okay.
Oh, and 3 Pro Football Hall of Famers, 2 defensive linemen, and 1 middle linebacker that Irv Goldie Hawkins went ahead and continued to give a ton of credit.
How many interceptions did the Bears have during that playoff run?
It doesn't matter because the quarterbacks weren't allowed to pass because we were back there so quick they didn't have an opportunity to pass. So none of that matters. About the defense. I'm just saying none of that matters. The fact of the matter is there is without and just for clarity's purposes for the last thing that is there anybody else on this panel that has a 30 for 30? Oh.
I think the Ravens do have a 30 for 30.
The Ravens do. 2000
defense or the Ravens?
2000 Ravens.
The Ravens, correct. 30. Not the Ravens. Yeah.
We had one this past year. We had one this past year too. All right.
Bucks or the Bucks defense?
Yes. No, Jameis Winston.
Oh.
Get out of here.
Now where are my crab legs at? And by the way, just for shits and giggles, I hate Mike Ditka. I blame him for
especially after this week, but we won't take it there. We're gonna leave that alone. I got my co-host. She looks like she's just ready to leap into action. She looks like she's ready to spring into action. 76 Steelers, you're up.
I'm calm, cool, and collected. I have to agree with Devon on his comment that really, when you go back and you look statistically, the Steelers in the 76-year season didn't go to the Super Bowl. The Raiders knocked them out. But statistically, they were the absolute best defense to ever step on the field. You realize that in the last 9 weeks,
Facts.
the last 9 games, they had 5 shutouts, 3 back-to-back. They only allowed 28 points scored against them in the last 9 games.
That's right.
That's it.
That's it.
28 points. And not one of them were, well, actually, one game, I think there was 1 touchdown scored, and I think it was Houston, actually. But then they played Houston again right before the end of the season and shut them out. So, yeah. This team did all of this with a rookie quarterback after week 5. Well, actually, week 4. Because Terry Bradshaw, of course, got dumped on his head by the Cleveland Browns, no less. And was out for most of the season. And Mike Krzyzek stepped in, rookie quarterback, and didn't throw the first touchdown pass. But they still won consecutively, game after game after game after game. He didn't throw a touchdown pass, but we had, Rocky Bleier and Franco Harris, who both in that season had over 1,000 yards rushing. Over 1,000 in that season. But that defense is what was helping score touchdowns. That defense was playing against 10 teams in the NFL who were ranked top 10 offenses. Unlike the 2000 Baltimore Ravens, who played the bottom 10 offenses throughout that season. They were ranked in the bottom 10th of the section of the NFL. So to say that we weren't facing outrageously, and we got beat by the Raiders early in the season that year in 76. And, blew by Minnesota. But in that game, we lost Rocky Bleier and Franco Harris. Even though we had gained Terry Bradshaw back, we had no running game. So basically, it made us, what? One-dimensional. When you have a one-dimensional football team on offense, you are not winning games, period. Not when you're playing teams like the Oakland Raiders of 76. You're just not. They beat us 24-7, I believe, in that game. The greatest stretch of dominance in NFL history in the 70s was the Pittsburgh Steelers steel curtain defense. Period. Nobody else can say that. Nobody else can say that for a decade that team was winning games hand over fist. They can't go and say that, the Hall of Famers that came off of that 70s team. I mean, come on. We had Jack Ham, Elsie Greenwood, Joe Green, Jack Lambert, Ernie Holmes, Dwight White, Andy Russell, J.T. Thomas, Glenn Edwards, Mike Wagner, and Donnie Shell. And I can't remember the rest of the guys. I mean, there was a lot of guys. There were still a lot of guys still in there. But
how many Hall of Famers on that? How many Hall of Famers on that defense?
9. 9 Hall of Famers out of that 70s defense. Not to mention the Pro Bowls that they made. I mean, they were just dominating. That defense was dominating in the 70s. But none other than the 76 Steelers defense, the steel curtain defense of 76. They broke records that will never stop. They will never stop. No other defense is ever going to do that. The 2008 Steelers steel curtain defense, that 2008 steel curtain defense that we led across the board in every statistic through most of the season in 2008 and went to the Super Bowl. But the 76 Steelers, they didn't win a Super Bowl, so they don't get that credit. Had they won that game, though, had they won that game. That would have been 3 back-to-back Super Bowls.
The irony of that situation, Ramona, the real irony is that both of the games that y'all lost that year, beginning and end, were to the Oakland Raiders.
Well, that's what I said. We were 1-4 whenever Krusek took over on that football team.
Yep.
And then,
Ramona, how was NFL offenses back in the 70s?
The Steelers were one of the teams that actually passed the ball. It wasn't really opened up, but you got Lynn Swan and
My point exactly, and just to read,
but they couldn't get him the ball. That's why there's a lot of respect. They literally depended on their defense every game that year.
Yeah, we didn't have a quarterback. We had a rookie play 9 games in that season.
Mike Kruchek.
What did you do? What did you do with a rookie in 2005?
Terry Bradshaw played 8 games.
What did you do with a
season.
rookie in 2005?
Took his team to the AFC Championship game.
With Ben Roethlisberger, what'd you do?
2004.
2004.
He took them to
Okay.
that. In 2005, took them to the Super Bowl, and we won.
Right. So
I mean,
I don't want to hear excuses about rookie quarterback. You didn't go to the Super Bowl in that 76 defense. The only respect I'll tell you about the Steel Curtain is you got legendary players. Devon Stanfield pointed out to the Ravens guy, who'd you have on offense? Who'd you have on offense? Who'd you have on defense? 9 Hall of Famers on defense.
But I
76. If you would have put that, if that 75 Steelers defense would have been up there that won the Super Bowl, you'd have a pretty good argument. But this is about the 76 Steelers. They didn't win it. They didn't win the Super Bowl.
That's
The
really their.
best
That's
offense of
really
all
their
time-
only.
The best offense of all time is the 2007 Patriots. They didn't win the Super Bowl. Nobody thinks about them. Nobody thinks about them. I don't think about the 76 Steelers because I think about Fat John Madden.
Ramona, reclaim your time. Reclaim your time.
John Madden's last game. I think about 76. I think about John Madden being carried off the field. That's what I think about.
Marcus, there needs to be a reclamation of time. And I'm sick and tired. I, for one, am sick and tired of this Buck Flair person circumventing people's ability to give their full case in this court.
Ramona, finish your point.
My point is this. But you can talk about the 74 and 75 Steelers football teams because they did win Super Bowls. The only reason they didn't win in 76 was because they lost their damn running game. Period. They went one-dimensional, and all they had was their passing game. And in the 70s, you didn't throw the football that much. You just didn't. It was a run first defense. And the NFL, thanks to the NFL, because from 1999 to 2000, they started breaking rules up and favoring the offense. And that's why right now you have higher offensive teams than you have higher defensive teams. Because if you want to sit and name off the top defenses in the NFL right now, let's do that. Let's talk about the 49ers. Let's talk about the Buffalo Bills. Let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers, who ranked 3rd at the end of the season last year, even though that defense was who was winning games and kept them in playoff contention all the way up to the end. Let's talk about top defenses. And when you really do, there's only about 6, maybe 7 top defenses every season now, because most of your teams are all offensive teams. Look at the scores of the games nowadays. Look how high the scores of games are anymore.
Well, I think it's definitely I say this all the time. Eras matter, okay? And
hey,
Herb,
Buck said something. Buck said something. I'm not trying to.
Hold on. Hey, D.
Hold on. I'm gonna come on camera. I know what you're about to say. Just relax.
No, Betts was about to make a point. You cut him off.
Because I want Betts to have the full gambit of this. Because Buck just really the only downfall for the 76 Steelers is that they lost. That they didn't make it to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. Everything else in there is stout. And then he had the nerve to bring up the Steelers offensive players. Their 2 running backs and Lynn Swan, when you had Keyshawn Johnson, Keenan McCardell, and Mike Allstott on your offense. So and you had Sean King and Brad Johnson. You had 2 reputable quarterbacks that could have took them to the Super Bowl. So I would digress if I were you.
No Hall of Famers. There you go. No.
Keyshawn Johnson not a Hall of Famer, bro.
Who?
Keyshawn Johnson not going. He's not a Hall of Famer.
No, he's not.
He's not going to get into the Hall of Fame, bro.
He's not going to get in Hall of Fame.
Oh, okay, all right.
He's not gonna get in Hall of Fame.
Mark my words.
One
Keyshawn Johnson's getting in the Hall of Fame,
I want to mention one more thing to our audience because there is a
and Mike Allstott.
got shafted out of this defensive talk tonight, and that would have been the 91 Philadelphia Eagles.
Fair.
How?
Fair.
That's
They
the,
held 15,
Fair.
15 teams of their 16-game season below 300 yards total offense throughout the whole season. They're the only team to ever do that.
And who coached that team? Just out of curiosity. His name was Buddy, right? Oh, all right.
Well, yeah, the defensive side, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying, to
Yeah,
me,
right. The Ryan name is definitely synonymous with defense.
those
Yeah.
91 Eagles, man, I'm telling you, they do not get any credit, and I don't understand that. I've never understood that. And of course,
I think it goes back to what Buck was saying. I think it goes back to what Buck's saying. We don't remember, and I know this sounds harsh, but it's harsh. We don't remember the losers.
Right.
We don't. And it's unfortunate. It's like, look, when I was in the military, we had a saying: you can have 1,000 boys can get messed up by one oops. You can do all of these great things, and then if at the end you don't look, they don't have the Indianapolis 499. It's the Indianapolis 500. If you can't finish the deal, you can't close the show, you're not going to get credit for it. Now, this is a defensive show, but back to somebody had mentioned it, the 2007 Patriots, talking offensively just for a moment. If they go undefeated, I mean, they might be considered the greatest team of all time, 19-0, but they're not going to get that credit. At the end, they did not close the show.
Hey, Beth, it don't mean a thing if you ain't got that ring.
Twice a last second Eli Manning pass ended there.
Yeah.
It don't mean a thing if you ain't got that ring.
Go ahead, Ramona.
we have 6 of them, so I'm good with that.
I mean, that's just. I mean,
Can you put the slide up again just one time, Marcus?
I will in just a second.
Oh, sorry.
Finish off my final say on the 76 Steelers. What they accomplished in 76, I don't think will ever be touched again. They only allowed 3.1 points per game. 28 total points allowed in the last 9 games. 5 shutouts, including 3 straight. The hat trick that no other team's done. No other team will probably ever do.
I said that the missing of the Super Bowl was your only downfall. I fell short on that comment because the other thing that I wanted to point out was back in those days there were only 14 games in a regular season, and then the wear and tear of the 17-game season or the 17-week season is a contributing factor.
Only go by eras that you play in.
Yeah. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. You would not. That would be like me saying Bill Russell's not a legend. You're still legendary, regardless as to what the circumstances were in your situation. So that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that the average points per game and the wear and tear on the season and having to linger with that rookie quarterback, it could have been a bigger detriment, or it could have gotten worse for your opponents. So
and then you can have the floor.
Yep.
All right. They were the only team in the NFL in 76 that they only had one team in the last 9 games that scored more than 6 points against them. Just one team. And that was the team who scored the touchdown against them. That was it.
Who'd you play? How good, Marcus? How good were the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 1976?
The Houston Oilers is who we played.
How good were the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 1976?
And they were a top
They
team.
That
were
was
trash.
the first grant. They lost 42-0 to the Steelers.
they were
42 to nothing.
expensive team. That's whenever
I'm looking at the schedule. They played the Bengals. They played the Chargers. They played the Giants. They played the Bengals twice. The Browns.
Well,
I mean, they play. The only person that reminds me, Earl Campbell. I don't even know if he was around then. I don't know if he even played that year.
All right.
I don't think he even played that year.
Now, because I'm going to finish. I'm almost done, and then you can have the floor.
They played the Patriots. I mean, they.
Go ahead, Ramona.
Go reclaiming your time.
All right. I'm almost done, and you have it. 183.3 yards per game. That's the most they allowed another offense to score against that, to run against that defense. 183.8 yards per game. That was it. 28 turnovers. They had 28 turnovers, forced turnovers for that season. Basically, a 9-0 record. I mean, that's just plain and simple how it was. And that was without Jerry Bradshaw. So, all right. Now, y'all can have the floor. I've said my piece. I even put all that in text for our viewers so they could read it.
Hey, Irv, how many forced turnovers total did that Ravens team have?
49 altogether. We had 26 fumble recoveries, 23 interceptions, so 49 total.
So 49 total. Okay, so we still tower over both of y'all. But okay.
What did y'all have?
I'm looking at
we had 61.
Okay,
we had 27. We had I'm sorry. I stand corrected.
Yeah.
We had 30, we had 43. We had 43.
And we had 46 total turnovers.
Yeah, 43, yeah.
Tampa Bay had 51.
I don't see that. I'm sitting here looking at a statistic.
All right, so you said you had 43. We had 49.
No. I was right. I was right. Yeah. I was right. We had 61. 61. We had 27 fumble recoveries and we had 34 interceptions.
Okay. And how many points did y'all was scored against y'all in the playoff run? Total. Because we only had 23 points scored against us total.
Didn't you say you had two? There were two.
There were two shutouts.
Two shutouts.
Yeah, they only allowed 10 points.
Understood, but what was the total points?
10.
10. We had a first round bye. We had a first round bye. The next two games, nobody scored, and we allowed 10 points in the Super Bowl.
True.
That's fine.
True.
That's very impressive.
And we went 18-1, and unlike most people who only had one loss, we actually won the Super Bowl.
Ooh.
Yeah, but y'all lost to the lowly Dolphins.
The lowly Dolphins? You mean the team that won the Super Bowl the previous year? That team?
Dolphins didn't win no Super Bowl the previous year.
Didn't win the Super Bowl.
Stop.
No, they didn't win the Super Bowl. Dan Marino's never won a ring. Come on, Mark.
The 1977 Falcons are the only.
Well, guys, this is we got
2.25 points per game in that same year.
I'm telling you. So, guys, as you know, guys, this was once again, y'all are watching the Alphabets Football Talk Show. I got my co-host, the lovely Ramona Diehard Die. I got Buck Flair in the house, the professional D Stanfield, and I got Goldie Hawkins in the house. We've been debating greatest defenses of all time. For me, this is hard. I'm going to give my last thoughts on this for the defenses. It was hard for me because every one of these defenses has claim for that.
Can you put the slide up one more time before as you're going through your spill? Can you put the slide up one more time, Ramona?
When you look at I remember the 85 Bears. A lot of people, y'all know I'm a Cowboys fan, but I actually was born in Chicago, and I remember how dominant that 85 team was. 76. I actually had to go back today and do some research on those 76 Steelers, and they were absolutely incredible. I remember Buck Ball. I remember that Tampa 2. I remember Warren Sapp and Simeon Rice and John Lynch. And I definitely remember the 2000 Ravens. And then even look at some of the newer defenses that we didn't even get to cover in this show. When you look at the 2013 Seahawks and the 2015 Broncos no fly zone. Look, these defenses, when you look at all of them, they were built to dominate for their era. When you look at the no-fly zone and the Legion of Boom, they're made for today's game, which is mostly a passing league. So it's really hard, and this is a debate that you can take to the end of time. Who's the best? And it's fun, as football fans, we can have these debates, and it's just wonderful to see something like that. But we got a little bit of time left, and quick answers, guys. You got up to 1 minute for your answer, and I got the stop clock here. We're looking at this. We're looking at this. The Mount Rushmore of defensive ends, and you got Reggie White there, and you got Bruce Smith. Bruce Smith, legendary defensive end from the Buffalo Bills, and the Minister of Defense, Reggie White. In your opinion, who are the other two defensive ends that would fill these places in the empty spots there? And I'm going to start off with you, Buck Flair. Go. 1 minute.
Well, I'm just going to say, out of respect for the Bucks, Leroy Selman is in my heart. I don't think he deserves to be up there, but he is compared to Reggie White, as his Ron Wolf said, he's probably the best defensive end he ever seen, Leroy. But Alan Page for the Vikings, he definitely got to be up there for me. And then if I look back through history, I know the guy from the Baltimore, Geno, he was great. He was voted the greatest defensive end during that era. So to me, I'm going to go with Deacon Jones, though. Deacon Jones and Alan Page. I'm putting Deacon Jones and Alan Page up there on that wall. Yeah.
Okay. Goldie, who you got?
You know what, man? Buck, you was in my head on that one. I was definitely thinking Deacon Jones, and Richard Seymour was a bad man too, boy. I was thinking either Richard Seymour or who was the guy from the Philadelphia Eagles?
I'm just asking who's on the screen here now.
It's Reggie White and Bruce Smith.
Right. I thought he said Reggie White a minute ago. I was like, well, he's already up there.
Yeah.
No, I was thinking of Brown, but no, I would say either I'm gonna go Deacon Jones and I'm thinking J.J. Watt, but I don't know if I'm just being biased because it's right now. You know, J.J. White is the flavor right now, but I'm gonna definitely go Deacon Jones, and I hate to say this because he's a Steeler, but maybe Joe Green.
Okay. Ramona.
Oh, hands down, Joe Green and Alan Page.
Joe Green, Alan Page.
Oh yeah.
Go
look at their stats for what they did during their tenure. They're just amazing.
Who you got, D?
I hate to say this, man. I actually gotta agree with Irv here. I like Deacon Jones and J.J. Watt, man.
Yeah.
I hate agreeing with Irv, but
we don't know what J.J. is going to end up being.
Like, I just know, like, if I didn't have J.J. Watt, I would put somebody up there that nobody really gives a whole lot of respect to, and that's Chris Dolman.
Oh man, that's a name I haven't heard.
For me, Chris Dolman, like, I had to see him. Like, we had to see him week in and week out. That dude was dude was amazing, man. I could not stand that guy. Could not stand him. And then I think honorable mention goes to Jason Taylor.
Yeah.
Okay. He was more of a He was more of a 3-4 outside linebacker, but I can see that.
Well, he's listed as a DN, and he was drafted as a DN. So I mean,
with me, man,
Because if that's the case, we can throw Derrick Brooks into the equation, couldn't we?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a 3. Yeah, but he mostly stood up. Neil Smith was really more the defensive end for them on those.
That's correct. That's correct. I'm just saying.
I'm gonna go with the Deacon. He actually has the sack record at over 200, but this is before they started counting sacks as official stats. He said he had more. I don't know exactly what the total was. I'm gonna have to go back and check. But
if you look at the unofficial, he did have more. I think he had something like 28 more than what they actually had.
Yeah, I don't think they start taking sacks until like the late 70s, early 80s. That was whenever they start counting sacks as an official stat. So I'm gonna go Deacon Jones, and I'm gonna go.
And think about this, Marcus. He accumulated those numbers in a shortened season.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's like Jim
Brown. Jim Brown, bruh, what he was able to in 9 games.
Or looking at O.J. Simpson with a 2,000-yard rushing season in 14 games.
14 games, bro. It's out of control. It'll never. In terms of the actual circumstances.
Yeah, these.
But he had another guy in this conveation too, Merlin Olsen. He's not a.
Well, all of them, the fearsome.
Yeah. That's a fact. That's a fact.
Rosie Greer.
Rosie Greer.
Who was the other one?
Oh gosh,
I forget who the fourth one was. We got it on the slide, but having those guys. So I'm gonna go with Deacon Jones and I'm gonna say Charles Haley. And guys, this is tough. I mean, I have an honorable mention for JJ Watt and Michael Strahan. That would be my choices. And last one, guys. I
can't.
Ramona, a lot of respect for Alan Page. These guys don't really understand Alan Page stats.
No, I get it. He's a legend. I respect Alan Page.
He's a legend.
I think that my vote is based off of not only what you were able to accomplish statistically, but overall impact.
Yeah. I mean, and then Brett Favre gave Strahan that record, so I gotta dock him for that.
You look at that Steelers defense. That Steelers defensive line was probably one of the best that football's ever seen. I mean,
yeah. Well, when you look at that.
Purple
2007. If we're gonna throw Michael Strahan in there, look at that defensive line for the 2007 Giants too. When you got
exactly
and Justin Tuck and Strahan.
That's my point, Mark. Like you can't if you don't have an opportunity to be double teamed. And I said this last week when people were trying to belittle Khalil Mack in terms of his production last year. I said y'all do realize what happened on the other side of the ball, right? Y'all do realize that Khalil Mack was the second most double teamed defensive line linebacker rushing the quarterback last year outside of Aaron Donald. Y'all do realize that because of the injury issues that we had last year, and yet and still his production was crazy. Like you have to take the impact into the equation here. And one thing I can say about the people that I put out, the reason why I don't put Richard Dent up there. Dan Hampton was on the other side, bro. They both was in the Hall of Fame. Like you can't just say that. Reggie White and Bruce Smith, and no disrespect to Cornelius Bennett, because I love you, man. All respect to you. But let's be clear. They on the Rushmore without question for a reason. But then when you look at the Aaron Donalds of the world, you look at the Von Millers of the world, you look at the Terrell Suggs of the world, people that had to foot the bill for a while without no help or with very minimal help, impact comes into play here. I'm telling you. Michael Strahan had the easiest. I mean, he had a long career before it got easy, but when it got easy, it was really easy.
Really easy. Yeah, you're not going to if you double team him, them other guys are going off, and by then this is whenever JPP they had got Jason.
Yes.
Pierre too. We didn't even mention him. So when you look at stuff like that, so it's really hard. But last topic, guys. Last topic of the night. Best pass rusher. This is the list that I have up here. But if you have somebody else, you got 30 seconds. And I'm going to go with you, Goldie, on this one here. Best pass rusher in NFL currently.
Hey man, I think Cam Newton still having nightmares of Von Miller. So I think he still see Von Miller in his dreams, man. So I'm gonna have to go with Von Miller because when he's healthy, he's a terror. Him and Khalil Mack, man.
Okay.
There it is.
Mona, who you got? I think I know your answer here, but go ahead.
I think as much as I love TJ Watt, and think that he's going to continue getting better, I'm going to go with Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald for what he to do what he does from the inside position is very impressive. To have double-digit sacks from the defensive tackle position is very.
Well, let me talk to you a little bit more because I actually wanted to take Chandler Jones.
I'm taking Chandler Jones myself.
Okay.
I think he had 19 sacks last season. 19 sacks. I think he
had like 19.5. So, and I'm kind of why Barrett's name's not up there is beyond me because the guy had 19 and a half sacks last year.
And to think what he's going to do with having Isaiah Simmons with him this season is kind of scary. It's kind of scary. Buck, who you got?
Well, my guy ain't up there, but I mean, out of respect that she just said that. Out of that list, those guys right there, I like Aaron Donald out of that list right there because he has to be double teamed. He has to be triple team in most cases. Khalil Mack is still the best pass rusher in the NFL, in my opinion, because he gets double team all the time. So he's the best pass rusher when you talk about pressure on the quarterback because you have to take him away too as well. That's why the Bears did do great last season because they doubled and triple team and took him out of the play.
I certainly think that Robert Quinn is going to certainly be able to help him this year. And if he gets some good
I certainly hope so. I certainly hope so.
If Mr. Trubisky can contribute, if the offense can contribute and keep them off of the field where they're not just constantly on the field, I still think Khalil Mack, he did have for him a down season, but I still think he's one of the elite pass rushers in the league. And I think after having Robert Quinn on my Cowboys last season and him having, I believe he had 11 sacks last year, I think that I think that'll help him. Who you got, D? Last.
First of all, let me just say I love the Watt boys. I love Chandler Jones. I can't stand Nick Bosa, but I got to give him his credit.
Nick Bosa, the man. Stop it.
I can't stand that dude, but I mean, he's a 45 lover. So but I give him credit where it's due. He's a beast. I think that we undervalue the Smith boys, Preston and Zadarius. Zadarius is a monster. Always has been. I think that Preston benefits a lot from that. Y'all already know who I'm picking. Aaron Donald is obviously at the top of my list, but he sits behind Khalil because of what I just said in the press argument, and that's impact. Khalil has mutual responsibilities as it pertains to that defense. Very, 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 very many responsibilities, similar to TJ, similar to JJ, if we honest. Aaron Donald as a defensive tackle, let's be clear, you just don't have that high level of responsibility. That's why I respect Zadarius and what he was able to do last year, given the circumstances. That's why I think Myles Garrett is one of the top up and coming guys on the defensive line because of what he's able to do, especially given the chaos in that locker room.
Without a doubt. Well, guys, that's all for tonight. We are out of time. Last word, quickly, Buck. Any last words?
I appreciate coming on the show again and talking football anytime with Marcus and Ramona. And Fine. I'll see you in the future. I know it. I mean,
you already know.
To the new guy, Ravens fan. I don't care if I see you in the future, but I like to just give you some pointers in life. I enjoy you being on the show with us, and I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks, Marcus.
No problem. Goldie, any last words?
Yeah, man. Always a pleasure, man. Thank you for inviting me to the show. You and Ramona, just true professionals, and I enjoy working with you guys, and I look forward to being on the show again. Shout out to Buck Flair. Yeah, shout out to Buck Flair, man. You had a great team, just not as good as mine. D, I talk to you all the time. You're my brother. Thank you. And once again, guys, tune in to Fresh Perspectives. Right now, Saturday mornings, we may switch today, but we are part of the Rise Up Sports family, up and coming sports family. We definitely making waves.
I had to come in and create havoc for Courtney. You know that.
Oh, yeah. We definitely have to have you come on. That would be great. And shout out to the OnPoint Network, the network that houses all of our shows. So just thank you, man. I appreciated coming on here and talking Ravens football.
Without that, D, quickly, last word.
Yeah, man. I enjoy all of the great talk about football, but there are some life issues going on
He
here.
likes to needle me.
Yeah. But there are some life issues going on here. There's COVID-19. There's an impending economic crisis.
As Ramona calls.
And and so what I would like to say in the final comments is, as we are consciously making life decisions on both the professional entertainment platforms and in our personal lives, I want to challenge our professional athletes and entertainers to just make better decisions as it pertains to your lives, because people are watching, depending, and modeling themselves after your example. And that's all I got.
Yeah. Mona, quickly.
Just glad to have the panel here. I actually love and respect each and every one of you guys. I absolutely respect every one of your teams. I can't say I love them, but I respect. It would be really hard to love teams in my own division. Although the Cincinnati Bengals are like my least favorite in my division. I think it's just the stripes. I don't know. But anyway, thank you all for coming. You guys come to our show anytime we ask you guys, and I appreciate that. Thank you all for the viewers for showing up, because without you guys, we wouldn't have a show. We're going to keep rocking it, and next week it's going to be me and Dre hosting the show. Marcus is taking a little siesta away from the show, so and I'm hoping to have one more person. I just haven't got to talk to this person yet, so hopefully soon. But we will be rocking the Alphabet Show. Andre and I will be next week, and I'm going to turn it over to you, Mr. Betts.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate you, and I'll see y'all in a couple of weeks. Thanks, guys, for coming in. Y'all are always welcome. I appreciate y'all, all the people out there. Make sure you are supporting the other shows on the Rise Up platform and the OnPoint Network, and we appreciate y'all. And everyone have a good night and be safe. Okay, we'll see y'all later.